Hello survivors, welcome to a brand new 02 Hero episode. Today we are going to clear that Titan hunt. We tried it with the Arcane Weaver. If we did it again with Arcane Weaver, because our skill tree did increase quite substantially, we would definitely beat it. But I want to try one with a skill tree that we can't do well in. Firstly, we're out of amount of Soulstones, you know. This is what happens. But once you do Titan hunting and you succeed, you'll get a whole lot more, and then we'll also end up having to get more Soulstones, major Soulstones, which will go into Overlord cycles with the build. So we're going to be doing Houndmaster today. He's not level 1. We've got our third weapon on him, which is going to be absolutely dreadful for the enemy, not for us. It's going to be amazing. We get Threshing Blast, which deals damage based on the number of stacks of poison that we apply. And we've also got it's like a poison flamethrower, pesticide burst. So we're in a much better spot. We've also got our Ascension, which is extremely strong. And just the difference between like this and what we had yesterday with the not the Houndmaster, the Arcane Weaver, you can already see a massive difference in damage. So the first thing we're going to have to work on is obviously cast frequency. We want to try and get that number down as much as possible. And also, as you saw there, we got some, what's the wording I'm looking for? Sorry. Multicast is going to work beautifully there as well. Now, we're taking Flamethrower as well. We are going to try and get as much poison as humanly possible into the build. And the best way for us to do that is going to be through, obviously, skills that will stack as much as possible. Now, in this case, that's going to be Flamethrower. Pesticide Burst already does the poison for us. But as soon as we get some poison on hit, we'll have our Flamethrower dealing as much as humanly possible to everything around us. So I mean, you can see that just how much faster this is going. Remember when we did this the other day, it was absolutely bonkers. What you can do as well, if you've got space, is also look at grabbing yourself an unexpected arsenal if you've unlocked it, and that's going to be a really powerful skill for you to look into grabbing. And the reason for that is because it's going to allow you to play with a Threshing Blast or Pesticide Burst on your Houndmaster's first weapon. And the reason we'd go Houndmaster's first weapon is because those hounds have something called Wound, which you get from the Void King as well. What Wound does is every time you crit, there's a chance that you'll apply Wound to the enemy for a certain amount of time. And while the enemy is affected by Wound, all negative effects that you apply to the enemy are doubled. So if I'm supposed to apply 100 stacks of poison per second, I'll now be applying 200 stacks of poison per second. And that is just absolutely ridiculously strong when you are playing a dot build. So, you know, just something to think about. Storm of Arrows, fantastic for this build as well. We're going to be able to increase the amount of damage we're dealing. Rapid Barrage also. Everything we're grabbing right now is just to apply as much poison as humanly possible in the build. And then Threshing Blast is going to go and do as much of that damage as humanly possible. And then if we need to focus on something, if we're worried about like the enemies right in front of us, we can just right click, and that's going to, or hold right click, that's going to manually aim for us. And that's going to make sure that we're dealing damage to the targets that we want to be dealing damage to, because otherwise you always land up hitting, you know, the closest enemy to you. Now, we never spoke about the Houndmaster's Ascension. As you can see, as we're running around, there's food on the floor. As we pick up that food, it makes the doggos happy. You feed them, and they increase their levels. Now, the higher the dog's level, the more buffs that they gain. So in this case, they're level 3. They gain 102% increased damage, cast frequency, movement speed, 76%, and area of effect. This is extremely powerful. The other thing is that they can also apply all of your poison needs with them as well. So very, very, very strong. Very nice to have. Do we want to go Shattered early, or do we want to grab Exposed early? I think we'll grab Exposed first, just for that extra damage, because we'll probably only go Misa Het as a third boss. So we'll just grab more from there. But look at this damage to Alexi done. I mean, Alexi's down. There we go. This boss is going to be down as well. The only thing we need to try and focus on even more right now is going to be increases to levels of the... I mean, not increases to levels, increases to the cast frequency. Because even this, you can see again, we aren't really able to defeat this stupid loot goblin. Ugh, and we got caught in between all of those enemies over there. We could grab Pestilence as well, but no. Okay, cast frequency. We can grab the Doom, and there is a reason for it. Critical strike chance, yes, we'll grab that. We need multicast chance, critical strike chance there as well. Good. So we can actually grab burn stacks, because burn will go to slow, slow will go to brittle, and then we've got brittle in there. Slow doesn't go to brittle, it's from the Cobalt Brothers where you get slow to brittle stacks, which is extremely powerful, but that's if we can defeat them. So we'll see how well we can do against the first and second boss. If we do really, really well and we're doing a lot of damage, we can try beat the Cobalt Brothers, but I just don't see if we're going to be able to do it or not. It all just depends on how well this goes for us. Alright, beautiful damage increases there. Critical strikes now apply poison. We need far more critical strike chance. We're going to grab that and this. So damage to Threshing Blast, which is our main skill. We just need more cast frequency for it now as well. Our first hit is always going to be a crit. We do have more crit from skills as well anyway, from the passives, like this one over here from Blast Support. But this is going a lot faster than what we did with our last build. So definitely a much better build. This is what I wanted to show you guys in the curse or the void fields, and I just completely never did it. But this is going to be far stronger. There's the slow to burn to slow, sorry. And then we should be able to get disarray. If we get disarray as well, then we're going to hope that we can defeat the loot goblin. And the thing with the loot goblin is there is a time where he can return. So just because you didn't defeat him doesn't mean you're not going to be able to defeat him at all. Do keep that in mind, that if he runs away and survives, you are still able to go and defeat him a second time later on. So sometimes you can use it strategically, other times you just get a second chance because you didn't defeat him the first time, which is what happened to us. Okay, grab a bit more magnetic. I think we are going to have to start working on a little bit of HP. And we've got 200% increased damage multiplier on our hounds right now from our ascension. And then now it's much bigger, 346%. Okay, let's go with the cast frequency and some slow. So now we've got the slow. Again, we'll see what happens with the boss fight. But poison to dazed is definitely going to be quite a big one. They become more susceptible to critical strike damage. Cast frequency there. Grab another burn to slow. The only reason I'm grabbing another one is because slow actually works really well, especially when you're on low level. It really does slow down enemies quite a lot, and being able to slow them down is going to make it so that they're going to become a lot easier for us to cart. But you can see how slowly they run to us. It keeps you a bit safe, and that was absolutely ridiculous. We defeated the boss in no time. So I think we can actually go for the kobolds. Maybe doing them first would be good, but it's actually not, because we probably got to do Aranak twice. So we need to do Aranak second. That's going to give us the poison to dazed, as well as if we get disarray, we go disarray to disoriented, and then we are going to go slow to brittle as well, which all of it's going to come together and make us do immense amounts of damage. I do find brittle to be far more powerful than exposed, which would get from Misa hit, but that's all, you know, whatever you fancy the most. Fast frequency over there. This skill over here can be changed to whatever you want to use. I'm just using it for now. You could use Bloodlust if that was an option. I think it is an option. He does have access to Chaos as far as I remember. I could be completely wrong here. Let's reroll there. Don't need damage. We'll just get Merciless for now. more critical strike chance as well. And let's try feed these doggos well. Okay, they went down again. So if you don't fill up their bowl of food, they do lose a level. And then they obviously lose stacks. There are ways, I mean, the easiest way to use your ascension is actually going to be using the void fields, where the bosses fight quite often, especially like in Overlord Cycle, because the bosses drop the best food possible for your hands. But this, I mean, it works. They still get their bonuses, they still get stronger. Nice, easy ascension to work with. However, it doesn't increase any damage for your actual character, which a lot of people might not necessarily like. Merciless, cast frequency. Yep, we need that cast frequency much lower still. We're also going to get a whole lot of levels from this. And we did take efficient extraction, so we do increase the amount of materials collected. So that's going to help us get a lot more minerals and things like that, which we otherwise would struggle to get. And we got this one from our arcane weaver yesterday. So even though we failed the Titan hunt, it still unlocked a whole lot of useful runes for us, which we are going to be using a lot in the early game or mid game of Soulstone Survivors, so keep that in mind. Grabbing some good food here. There is our dude, so we can actually use Aranak twice now. This time we actually managed to beat him. There you go. So that was the best use of him coming back to us. So now we're just looking for slow to disarray. Get some life. Let poison do a bit more damage. Area of effect on there. Critical strike chance. More poison. Of course, we want to try and get as much poison as possible, so that we can get the upgrades to threshing blast damage. And why do we only have such low level fights going on over here? These objectives are not working very well for us, but it is what it is. We can't really do much more about it. We got to keep just going. Just like the Houndmaster said, we got to keep hunting, and that's what we're doing. We are hunting Titans. Okay, more poison. Again, the more poison we stack, the more damage Threshing Blast is going to do, and the faster we're going to be able to defeat everything as well. Alright, look at that beautiful damage we just did there. Absolutely destroyed everything around us. We've got another boss fight over here that's going to give us our third. We're then just hoping for a green upgrade. Critical strike chance for everything is good, and cast frequency there is beautiful, and more cast frequency for everything is going to be fantastic. Remember, the more cast frequency and multicast we have, the more damage we're going to be able to dish out faster. Wasn't able to get a +2 anywhere, so we are stuck on just fighting a random enemy. It's okay. There is a +1 over here right by the door as well, so that will save us a bit of time. What enemies are we actually looking to defeat here? I don't know what it was we're looking for, but we managed to do it. It's the this one is the Mushroom Men, so just keep your eyes on them. Defeat them as quickly as possible, so that we can move on to the boss fight. So second Titan, didn't take too long. The boss fight should happen very, very quickly, and then we can go into the into the treasure room, get that going as quickly as possible, get into the next area and go from there. Again, just trying to get as much critical strike chance when we see it. Getting ourselves some armor and max life is going to be very good here as well. Block is very good. There's some more poison, get some more HP. cast frequency on everything. There's a lot of stats you have to worry about in the beginning of the game when you don't have a lot of it from skill tree and weapon power. So there we go. Poison to dazed. Again, dazed increases the amount of critical strike chance that we can apply to enemies, so it makes them more vulnerable to crits, which is the whole point to it. And now we just get some free levels, which is fantastic because that's going to make us stronger without having to worry about anything. And then the more magnetic that you have, the more levels you're going to get from here as well. So you want to try and get that going for yourself as well. Okay, let's keep going. 21 levels. I mean, this is all levels that we otherwise wouldn't have had. So it's really, really insane. Just being able to defeat that loot goblin makes you insanely powerful. So there we go. Let's just use them quickly. We don't need that one. I'm going to banish it. There we go. We finally get the disarray. We get a beautiful upgrade over there to it as well. You can increase the movement speed and stuff of your actual hands as well, but you don't need to do that. A beautiful multicast there. Multicast there. Poison. I guess we can go a bit of critical strike chance. Merciless is coming around very well. More movement speed. There's the disarray. So we can actually go and fight the second Aranak now. So we go straight back to fighting Aranak, and that's going to give us the disarray to disoriented. If you can't fight Aranak, you just got to test your damage. I think our damage, because we landed up getting a goblin, made it very, very strong. So I think we would have been able to do the kobolds very, very quickly. I mean, you can see this has become very, very easy for us. Now remember, we don't have weapon level upgrades. We don't have a lot of the skill tree unlocked for the Houndmaster or for a lot of the characters. We don't have a lot of runes that we're playing with. We're playing with Dash Mastery and Sure-Footed, which are both defensive runes. The only thing that's really helpful here is Synergetic, coming in quite handy for like the skills like Poison to slow to disarray, and that they show up quite more often when you've got this rune. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing in this toolkit that's really that helpful. Even our dogs, even though they are quite good, they do apply quite a few poison stacks for us, even without the Ascension, because we've got a skill that stacks very well off of damage. Compared to the Arcane from yesterday with the Brittle, Poison is far more easier to stack. So we're able to do a lot more damage to it. We've also received a lot more bonuses to, you know, the tarping than we have before. So 110% increased damage. I think it just scales a lot better than the Arcane Explosion that we were using yesterday. So, you know, all these things make a really big difference when you're playing the game. Skill tarping, the way that you can synergize with the skill. And this is something that we will get into in a future video as well, because it's something important for a lot of players to understand when making builds, because I've actually seen a lot of people on the Reddit getting frustrated or upset with the game because they are not able to defeat certain things or do certain things because of a lack of understanding. But I mean, that's also kind of I mean, you can't really be frustrated. Some of these things are hidden knowledge that the game otherwise doesn't tell you about, or you kind of have to figure it out by thoroughly testing it, which a lot of people don't want to do if you're casual and not like a hardcore Soulstone Survivor player. Then you're not going to spend your time or hundreds of hours figuring out how all this stuff works and all the finer details that make a big difference. So we'll get to that once we've finished optimizing our 0 to hero, which by the way is taking me far longer than I thought it would.
No more hiding, big fella. I need your blood.
Okay, we'll try the Kobold brothers after this, the Viv and Volk fight. We should be able to defeat them relatively quickly. I think we'll be able to defeat them relatively quickly. So now we get Disarray to Disoriented. Disoriented increases critical strike damage taken by enemies. So it's the same as Dazed, but for crit damage instead of critical strike chance. Very, very, very powerful. There's Volk and Vivolt. I think Brittle again. If we had the Brittle room from the Machinist, which we'll eventually get very soon, Exposed would have been better, but because we don't have brittle in the build, we are going to be grabbing it. Very, very strong multiplier to damage. And it's for free, because we've already got so many slow stacks being applied. It's gonna just be very useful. Okay, more poison. There's a +3 that spawned. Fantastic. I think the game gets upset with me when I clear things too quickly, when I'm not supposed to, so it doesn't know what to spawn for us. Try and speed run this section so we can get to the final netherworld. And beat up that corrupted Void Hunter. It's time for payback. Just defeating everything that has a yellow hue, and it turns out that those aren't the enemies we're supposed to be defeating. There's a +3, beautiful. Go for some damage on the hounds, why not? And more disarray stacks. Because the more disarray we apply, the more disoriented we can apply as well, so... there should be one more for you guys. It would be nice if it showed them up on the minimap. I know there's a lot that shows up on the minimap, but being able to see which enemy it is that we're closest to that we need to defeat can be very, very handy. This one's pretty easy. I know it's these guys after defeating one of them. A nice thing to know about debuffs or dots is that even if a skill, so as long as I've got like poison on hit, even if I just only had Threshing Blast, as long as I had some form of poison stacking, which we did this with the Fiery Blades as well, on Saturday, what happens is that the skill itself will first apply the poison, and then the damage calculation for the damage per stack gets applied as well. So as long as we can apply the poison first, it doesn't really matter if the skill applies poison or if it needs poison to inflict the damage. So any of those skills, even the skills that remove stacks of a debuff on hit to apply more damage, they're first going to apply the debuff first, and then they will remove the debuff before a damage calculation. So just something interesting to know that you may not have known anyway, but it's just a finer detail. So something again in game that you know, some knowledge that you otherwise wouldn't have known, that is quite helpful. Yeah, we can go nature to that, that's fine. Grab ourselves more HP, more critical strike chance. We are on 88% for this and 120% for projectile. So we're actually at a very strong point with crit, but getting that extra little bit does help. So we've got the dazed, we've got all of that. I'm going to lower the visuals on the screen. We use I and O on our keyboard to do it if we don't do it on the settings. And the only reason I'm lowering them is because this boss fight is beyond, you know, disgusting. But that actually went very, very quickly. I did not expect it to be so quick. So don't use the rerolls. There's the, whenever we apply slow, we apply brittle. That's exactly what we're looking for. Brittle increases all damage taken by enemies by a set amount. In this case, it's 7 per stack. And every single attack has 75% chance to apply the brittle. So they're going to end up taking additional damage per hit there. So that's going to be very, 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 very strong. And even though we used brittle previously and it just didn't work out for us this time, as you can see, with a different build, a different character, less skill tree actually than what we had on the Arcane Weaver, we are able to do far more. Alright, last couple of minutes and we will defeat the boss. I think this one's a given. The boss is going to get destroyed. I don't like this section. We need to be careful of that one. More wary, because those corners get us defeated very quickly. boss fights over here are actually very, very good. What they do is they drop a better food for our hounds. So if you're looking to get your hounds to be a specific level, then fighting bosses is what you want to look for, because as you can see there, the bosses drop that big yellow food, which is a lot of food compared to some of the others. Doesn't matter so much for me. We're not really using the hounds for much. However, I've got a proof of concept which we will bring out in a future video for the Hound Master. I do want to try it in Titan Hunt, but I think it can only be done on this specific level with a max skill tree and some other skills to benefit it. So we will try that in the future. It doesn't work on very high levels, but it could be very, very fun to try anyway. Grab ourselves some armor, just going for more crit, and then multicast might be a good option as well. But it's so good to see us multicasting a lot of Storm of Arrows, or multiplying the amount of, or skill chaining the projectiles, because as you can see, it makes a massive difference. Boss fights again. I think staying at level 3 for the hounds is quite easy. I think if we had to try and get to a higher number, that would be a lot more difficult. Grab that. There's a big food. It looks like we're only getting one big food. If you play this on the void fields, every single boss would drop one of those big foods for you. So you can get to a much higher level and sustain it a lot easier on the void fields compared to here. Area of effect. We don't need more slow to disarray. We need more poison stuff and then just disarray itself. So we'll grab all that juicy stuff. And we need 3 more. So there's a 2 down here. Again, just remember, this is the horrible one. So go to the right hand side, not the left hand side. Defeat this guy. Ooh, that damage is so good. It's just so clean to see their health bar disappear the way it does. Like, you know it's Threshing Blast that's dealing the damage, because their health stagnates for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just disappears when this goes on cooldown. It's just so good to see the skill working the way it's supposed to. And what's really nice is it hits multiple enemies. So as long as the enemies are in front of you, it's going to hit them, which makes it far stronger than skills like Pestilence, or some of those skills that deal additional damage. Like Pestilence is a chain skill, so it only hits about 5 characters or 5 enemies, where this will hit absolutely every single enemy as long as it is in front of you or as big as the area of effect. And we actually get revenge, guys. So the corrupted Void Hunter that you fight is usually random, but in this case we landed up getting the exact same boss fight, and that is the massive difference between the first time we fought it and now. The skill that we grabbed doesn't matter. We completed the Sigil of Corruption to unlock the Shaman, and we will probably either use this build to unlock the other 2 characters, or to just keep on going from there. 230,000 Soulstones. We defeated it. We got some decent currency over there, decent minerals as well. And that is the video. Let me know what you guys thought about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.